The courage that shaped us. A time-honoring reflection on service, sacrifice, courage, and the spirit of America. Part 1. Today, 13 years later. A photo memory popped up on my phone entitled 13 Years Ago. It was a military picture, U.S. Marine Corps, in honor of my son's decision to join the U.S. military forces 13 years ago. And that kindled a spark within me that would ignite into a fire and a flame that would lead me down a path of putting into words and into writing, honoring the self-sacrifice that so many members have made throughout history, shaping and defining the face of the American history. So this speech will be in several parts. First, taken from the perspective of today and how this reminder from 13 years ago brings forth a flood of emotions and reflections. Then I share the actual unedited message that I wrote 13 years ago, asking friends, family, and neighbors for their support for my young son as he embarks upon his journey into military service, joining the ranks of so many time-honored military leaders and service members of service and sacrifice, thanking every mother, father, brother, sister, family service member, and their family for their service and sacrifice. And finally, I end with a powerful writing passage that I believe captures the true spirit of what it means to make the decision to lay down one's life, if it came down to it, in the ultimate form of service and sacrifice to defend the rights and freedoms of the American people. 13 years ago, a photo popped up on my phone. A young man in uniform, resolute and proud, a United States Marine. And in that single image, the past and future collided. It marked the beginning of my son's journey into joining the United States Marine Corps. I was instantly transported back to the moment no mother can ever quite prepare for. The day I hugged him one last time before he stepped into a calling far greater than himself. In that instant, the weight of history, sacrifice, and love collided in my soul. What began as a farewell was in truth the beginning of a journey, the start of a legacy, one of honor, grit, courage, and devotion. No words could fully capture the torrent of emotions that surged through me then. The pride swelling in my chest in watching him answer the call. The fear of the unknown pressing at the edges of my heart. The gratitude for this nation that has demanded so much of its sons and daughters and yet still produces protectors brave enough to defend it. Recalling the service and sacrifice of my own family members, friends, loved ones, neighbors, schoolmates who answered the call, many of them no longer with us today. A moment of silence. Recounting the stories etched throughout history of those who came before and stepped up for a cause greater than oneself. And the faith that God's hand would steady him and guide him through every storm. To be the mother of a Marine is to live in a paradox. An anxiety that grips and an honor that uplifts, fear and pride, heartbreak and honor. For in sending forth a child, you send forth a defender of liberty itself. Yet I realized this moment was not just about my son. It was about every son and daughter who has ever sworn to protect and defend the sacred ideals upon which this nation stands. America was not born in ease, but in fire. Freedom has always required a price. From the first cries of freedom declared at Independence Hall, from the fields of Gettysburg to the sands of Iwo Jima, from the jungles of Vietnam to the streets of Fallujah, to blood-soaked beaches and battlefields throughout history, where men and women laid down their lives, the thread of sacrifice has been woven into our nation's fabric. To this very day, Freedom is held fast by the courage of those who step forward, raise their right hand, and say, "Here I am, I stand with my country." The soul of this country has been shaped by the men and women who stood between liberty and tyranny and said, "Not on my watch. I will go. Send me." My son joined them, and in him I saw a long line of warriors who came before, those who carried the weight of freedom on their backs, who bled for it, who never asked to be called heroes, just simply answered the call. I saw their steadfastness, their resolve, their unshakable belief that freedom is worth every measure of devotion. He was my child, yet he became America's son, answering the call that has been echoed across generations to safeguard liberty, to protect our homes, to defend the rights entrusted by God Almighty. So this next part is the passage that I wrote 13 years ago that popped up on my feed and started this whole writing dialogue. Hey, Facebook friends, who out there has kids? Silly question, I know. Who has family in the military? Many of you know me as the mentor, motivator, the light, the spark, the one that always lifts others up. The silly, goofy one that makes you laugh, that causes you to stop, to think, and to reflect. Those who know me best know that I have a deep love, respect, devotion, honor, admiration, and gratitude towards those who have felt the higher calling to serve our country and defend the many freedoms that we sometimes forget to appreciate and oftentimes take for granted. Tonight, I come to you as a mother, one sending her child off to become a United States Marine. In just a few days, my baby, my son, is stepping into one of the most challenging, demanding, and honorable roles in existence: service to country. I'm bursting with pride. I'm heartbroken. I'm hopeful. And if I'm honest, I'm scared. It's a bittersweet time, one of pride and of reflection. I'm sad. I will miss him. I worry about him. I wonder how he's doing. I think about everything that he's already accomplished, the milestones he will reach in the coming days, weeks, months, and years ahead. And I see the man he is destined to become. Every day he makes me proud of the man he is becoming. I admire his character, strength, integrity, demeanor, attitude, vision, insight, that beautiful mind that sees numbers, patterns, musical chords, sequences, codes, as though it were a language that he somehow just gets and that is just written into his very soul. His broad shoulders built to carry a weight beyond just himself. A natural born leadership that he's carried since birth. An intuitive kindness and understanding of others. A protector, a defender that looks out for everybody. I have no doubt that he is about to embark upon one of the toughest, most challenging, yet most rewarding journeys of his life. Experiences and challenges that will better define the great qualities he already has instilled and ingrained in the very fabric of his very being. I know this next chapter will shape him further. I know there will be days when he questions everything. I know there will be moments that he will want to quit. And I know without a doubt that in those moments, his restless inner drive and spirit will dig deep, reach further, find his core, and rise triumphantly. He will persevere. He will be forged and made stronger. This journey won't define him. It will refine him. It will forge strength out of struggle. And I believe with every fiber of my being that he will come out of it more resilient, more capable, and more committed to purpose than ever before. readied for the journey ahead. I'm asking for your support, whether you've served, sent someone off, or simply walked beside someone through life's trials. Your words matter. Your stories matter. I'll be sharing a Facebook group to track his journey and to share letters, cartoons, prayers, and encouragement. If you'd like to be a part of it, please let me know. I appreciate the unyielding support of friends, family, neighbors, community, loved ones in the coming days. I may need to lean on you from time to time as I navigate through this journey and chapter in my life. As a single mother, it is my greatest hope that I have done everything I possibly can to prepare my two boys to face the world ahead and navigate life's challenges with steadfast courage, honor, integrity, commitment, ambition, bold spirit, unyielding strength, and fortitude to face and overcome any obstacle and challenge presented along their journey, while seizing every opportunity for greater knowledge, experience, understanding, insight, growth, and advancement. To stand for ideals that matter to them while accounting for, honoring, respecting, and protecting others around them. Pray for his younger brother, still at home, worried for Big Brother. He looks up to Big Brother in so many ways, yet faces the individual challenge that we all face, figuring out where we fit in this world. In the meantime, hug your family a little tighter tonight. Tell them you love them. Appreciate them. Share how they brighten your day. Tell them the things about their character that you admire the most, not focusing on the tasks and accomplishments that they've achieved, not for what they can do for others, but the person that they become through their journey. How you've watched them grow and be forged and molded into better versions of themselves by the challenges in life that they faced with bold, courageous spirit. And if you feel moved, send a note, send a prayer, a word of support. I'll make sure he hears it. God bless my son. God bless my family. God bless all who serve. And God bless our nation and our world. So that was a letter 13 years ago that started this whole journey. Part 3, Reflections from the Journey. 13 years have passed since that defining day, and still the memory holds me as firmly as if it were yesterday, wrapping itself around my heart like a thread that refuses to fray. Time has moved on. So much has changed in over a decade. New memories have been made, and old ones cherished. Doors have been closed behind us, leaving us with the memories and lessons they brought along their path. Other doors and opportunities have arisen and opened, bringing opportunity for growth, wisdom, discernment, knowledge, and experience, adding new puzzle pieces to the grand tapestry of life. Yet through it all, the thread of sacrifice remains unbroken. My son's journey into the Marine Corps was not his alone. It was mine as well. It is every parent's and every family's who's watched their child shoulder the mantle of duty and step into the ranks of those who guard the very soul of our republic. It was a shared experience of faith, fear, hope, and enduring pride. It was the unspoken knowing that while our children may wear the uniform, it is our hearts that go along to war alongside them. What began with trembling hands, tearful goodbyes, and a awaited return has matured into a profound and deeper understanding. Freedom endures because sacrifice was never forgotten. Service is never in vain, and courage is never wasted. Today I reflect not only as a proud mother, but as an American. I reflect with gratitude, not just for my son, but for every soul who has worn the cloth of our nation. They are the living embodiment of the promise declared long ago. that we are a free and sovereign people, bound not only by law, but by love of country and of one another. Because their legacy, their fire is what lights the torch for liberty for every generation to come. And so I say once more, as I said then, thank you, son. Thank you to all who serve. Thank you for believing so deeply in the idea of America that you would risk everything to preserve her. The flag yet waves, the republic yet stands, and the torch of liberty yet burns because of you. Before I read my final message, I had some closing thoughts to share and a call to action where I ask you, the listener, to engage in this conversation. Friends, I now invite you into this reflection. If you have family or loved ones who have served in the United States military, whether Army, Navy, Air Force, Marine, Coast Guard, or Space Force, please share your stories, your memories, your words of gratitude in the comments below. We are united, regardless of branch, on one front, the defense of liberty. Like, share, tag yourselves, and let's begin a dialogue. Let's honor not only my son, but every son, daughter, father, mother, brother, sister, and friend who has ever worn the uniform of this great nation. Your voices matter. Your stories matter. And together they form the living, breathing narrative of America's courage in action. If you don't know what words to write, simply drop an emoji of the American flag, praying hands, the eagle, the star, anchor, world, fire, military helmet, or ribbon of honor. Type the words Amen, USA, thank you for your service, praying for America, service and sacrifice, courage under fire. Whatever comes to mind, let your words echo alongside your stories of our countrymen and women. And now in closing, a call to the nation. These are challenging times in our nation's history. Headlines flood our screens with heartbreak and upheaval, violence in our cities, division in our communities, global unrest, political hostility, and fear that seems to hang in the air like fog that we can't quite shake. Tragedies are no longer isolated. They are daily. The intensity grows. And if you listen long enough, if you scroll endlessly through the doom and devastation, you may begin to believe that hope has left the building, that unity is out of reach, that peace is only a memory. Let me say this clearly. We are not powerless. We are not divided beyond repair. We are not without hope. Yes, we are standing at a tipping point in American history. But we have stood here before, and each time we did not fall, we rose. We are a nation forged in fire, not fractured by it. We have faced civil wars, world wars, terror attacks, economic collapse, and still we endure. Not because we are perfect, but because we are relentless in the pursuit of something greater than ourselves. What we need now is not more noise. What we need is remembrance of who we are, of what we stand for, of the people, the men and women, sons and daughters who have laid down everything on the line to defend the very idea of America. So today I invite you to pause, to listen, to reflect, to unite around a truth that transcends politics, headlines, and fear. That courage still lives here, that service still matters, that freedom is still worth fighting for. This message is more than a reflection. It is a call to action, a call to remember the cost of our freedom and the courage that continues to pay it forward. If these words stir something in you, if they remind you of what truly binds us together, then I ask you to share them. Consider subscribing, like, comment, share. You never know who needs to hear these words today. You never know whose soul might be steadied by the reminder that they are not alone in their desire to see this nation healed, united, and at peace once more. Thank you for spending a piece of your day with me. Take care, stay connected, and above all, simplify. And one final message: the courage that shaped us. Ladies and gentlemen, warriors and patriots, sons and daughters of a great and relentless nation. Today we gather not merely to remember, but to honor with purpose. Not to recite dates or names, not to recount battles, but to uphold the spirit that fought them. To breathe life into the sacred truth, to recognize that true courage, the kind that shapes the soul of a nation, has always come at a cost. Courage is not loud. It does not always roar on the battlefield or echo through the halls of power. It does not always shout. Sometimes it whispers in the silence, in the darkness before a mission, in the breath before a breach, in the stillness of a soldier writing a letter home, knowing it might be his last, in the resolve behind a saluted goodbye, in the breath before that last call home, in the echoing silence of an empty seat at a dinner table. Sometimes it is simply the act of standing up again when every bone in your body, every fear in your heart tells you to stay down, and the sacred oath, I will defend. Courage lives in the heartbeat of the one who steps forward when it would be easier to stay behind. It is the heartbeat of those who raised their right hand and swore an oath, not to a person, not to a party, but to an ideal. It is not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else matters more. These were not perfect men and women, but they were powerful, made powerful by the fire that they walked through, the demons that they faced, the pain that they carried so others would not have to. Courage is the pilot who breaks through the storm, the ground troop who advances under fire, the intel officer who disappears into silence, the commander who bears the burden of consequence, the mother who sends her son off to serve. From the beaches of Normandy to the mountains of Kandahar, Afghanistan, from the chaos of Mogadishu to the silence of undisclosed operations carried out in the dark, there have always been those who have chose mission over comfort, integrity over unpopularity, sacrifice over self. These are not just warriors. They are leaders. Leaders not defined by rank or title, but by grit, by character, by refusal to yield when everything was against them. They dug deep, not for glory, but for the man and the women beside them. They bled, not for fame, but for the future of the children they might never see or meet. They walked through fear not because they didn't feel it, but because they knew that freedom, true freedom, requires someone, somewhere to walk through hell so that others don't have to. Courage has always lit our path. And still today it burns in every service member who raises their right hand and swears that timeless oath, not to a flag, but to the idea behind it, to liberty, to justice, to country, to each other. In the face of fear, they chose service. In the face of hardship, they chose sacrifice. In the face of death, they chose love. And for every commander who charted the course, every president who bore the weight of war on weary shoulders, every leader who stood firm when the world trembled, courage was not born in ease, but forged in fire. It was the calloused hands of the ground troops, the pilot pushing beyond the limits, the intel operative who vanished into shadows so that others could live in light. It was and still is the mother who kisses her child goodbye at the airport gate, knowing he might not return, and the father who teaches strength, then watches his daughter lead the way. To every leader who led with humility, every warrior who fought with honor, every family who stood the test of waiting, we owe you more than thanks. We owe you the promise to carry the torch forward. This is the spirit that shaped America, and it is the courage that will preserve her. Courage is the soul of America. It is our oldest legacy and our most sacred inheritance. We are not a perfect nation, but we are a relentless one. Because our history was written not by the comfortable, but by the courageous. In the face of adversity, we chose resolve. In the face of doubt, we chose discipline. In the face of overwhelming odds, we chose each other. That is what has always set America apart. Not just our might, but our will to rise again and again and again. To every service member, past, present, and future. To every man and woman who has ever worn the uniform, who has ever stood a post, who has ever run towards danger while others fled, who has ever led with heart and served with honor. You are the reason this nation breathes free. You are the spine of our story. And no history of America will ever be complete without the mention of your sacrifice, your bravery, your courage. So let this be etched not only in the pages of history, but into the spirit of every American who walks this land. We remember you. We honor you. We follow your example. Because courage, true courage, doesn't fade with time. It shapes it. May you walk in God's light. May you shine your light against darkness. And may your courage, unyielding, unbroken, continue to shape this nation for generations to come. Semper Fi, and God bless these united, not divided, United States of America. Thank you, and God bless.